The UW is now accused of violating a football player's constitutional rights. We'll tell you more about the lawsuit filed against the university after prosecutors filed sexual assault charges against one of its athletes.
And investigators still don't know what caused an explosion at an ethanol plant in Monroe this week.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning. It is Wednesday, October 10th, and it feels like we are experiencing every single season this week.
Well,
Seriously.
we kind of are. Yeah, summer yesterday,
Yes.
80s across the area yesterday. Tomorrow we'll be lucky to get through the 40s.
Oof.
In between, we do have some more rain in the forecast, so it's an alert day. We don't need any additional rain here in southern Wisconsin. The ground is saturated, rivers are full, and any additional rain is likely just to run off and cause flooding issues. So for that reason, today is an alert day. Here's a look at Doppler track this morning. We have some rain pretty steady from the Dells back towards Platteville this morning. We've had some raindrops here in the Madison area. The patio is just one big puddle right now. A look at future radar over the next couple of hours, and you'll see that the rain makes some slow progress to the east, but still stays pretty close to Madison. So we will be dealing with rain through the morning commute. The probability of precipitation goes down quite a bit after 5 o'clock this evening. That's when we start to see our rain chances really diminish across southern Wisconsin. For your first alert traffic update this morning, keep in mind that the roads are wet, so you might want to take a little extra caution. Otherwise, no accidents to report right now. If you are headed into Madison, you're still going at posted speeds.
That is very good news, especially just, again, I keep thinking like every time we say rain now, we're just looking out for those flooding potentials.
Yes.
Yeah, you never know. And again, the flooding problems could arise rather quickly in some of those
They
roads.
can. We've learned that.
Yeah.
No kidding. All right, thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
6:02 your time now. We are continuing to follow the case of a Badger football player who's facing charges of sexual assault and is now suing the university. 20-year-old Quintez Cephas has been banned from the team since August. A criminal complaint accuses him of assaulting 2 women while they were drinking in his apartment back in April. In a new lawsuit filed on Tuesday, Cephas claims the school administration violated his constitutional rights, including his right to due process and his right against self-incrimination. The lawsuit also alleges the university had external pressures to find Cephas guilty because a prominent donor has close ties to the case. The complaint requested a trial by jury. Cephas should be back in court Thursday for his arraignment in that criminal case.
People working at an ethanol plant in Monroe are hoping to head back to work today after that facility was shut down as a precaution yesterday. That decision was made following an explosion at the Badger State ethanol plant. That happened around 5:45 yesterday morning. Officials were at that scene of the explosion until late last night looking into what happened. 8 people were working at the plant at the time, but no one was hurt. Crews described it as a slow burning fire. Owners say that this was an isolated incident inside one of the corn silos. The cause is still under investigation this morning, but there's no evidence that the explosion was intentionally triggered by anyone.
Just across the street from that plant, police are investigating a building collapse that has one person recovering this morning. We're told the 2 incidents are not related. The warehouse was only about halfway built. Parts of its unfinished roof and wall came down around 3 yesterday afternoon. Officials with OSHA and Monroe Police are still trying to figure out what caused that collapse.
New this morning, Madison police are looking for a man who stabbed someone on State Street last night. Officers say this happened around 9:30 at a bus stop right near State Street, Bratz. A 25-year-old man told police another man approached him and asked for money, then stabbed him when he said no. That victim went to the hospital but is expected to be okay. Police are still searching for that suspect this morning.
Firefighters in Janesville are asking the public for any information on a fire that left a number of families without a home. We're talking about the fire at an apartment complex on Morningside Drive last week. Everyone living there was evacuated. About a dozen people had to find another place to stay. No one was hurt, thankfully. Firefighters think that fire was started with a propane grill out on an outside deck. That being said, though, anyone with information is asked to call the fire marshal at that phone number on your screen. That's 608-751-2809. 6:04 your time now. Candidates in next month's election will have a clearer picture on where they stand with voters a little after noon today. That's when results from the latest Marquette Law School poll are going to be released. The previous poll showed Democrat Tony Evers leading Governor Walker by 5 points and Senator Tammy Baldwin leading challenger Leah Vukmir by 11 points. The margin of error in that poll was 4 percentage points. This may be the last poll before the election on November 6th.
Those poll results are coming out as Vice President Mike Pence is scheduled to land in Wisconsin today. He's headlining 2 different fundraisers for the state's Republican Party and his friend, Governor Scott Walker. The vice president is scheduled to arrive at Green Bay's Austin Straubel Airport at noon before speaking at an event at the Oneida Golf and Country Club. He'll then head to a pipeline contractor in Eau Claire to host an event there. Vice President Pence, you may remember, was last in Wisconsin in August to stump for U.S. Senate candidate Leah Vukmir.
We have some good news and some bad news. First alert traffic-wise this morning. The good news is overnight work on the Beltline wasn't delayed too much by this summer's wet weather.
The bad news is we need more than a week of dry weather to make sure it stays that way. Josh Spreiter is live along the Beltline this morning near Monona Drive, where the DOT has worked for months to get things ready for winter driving. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning, ladies. Yeah, the DOT tells me we need at least 8 more dry nights in order to get the job done. You can see the lanes and ramps have reopened. Crews just removed those cones by 6 o'clock this morning. We'll give you a closer look at that construction work right now. You've probably noticed the overnight closures since June. Crews have been working during the overnight hours making pavement repairs in both directions while removing and replacing some of the concrete that has deteriorated due to use over time and, of course, the extreme weather conditions we experience here in Wisconsin throughout the year. A spokesperson for the DOT tells me contractors did a good job keeping on schedule for most of the season, even with the wetter than normal conditions. Again, the construction work is expected to wrap up very soon. They expect to have everything back to normal here within the next 2 to 3 weeks. Of course, that's all up to Mother Nature. We know how she has been lately. Coming up just after 6:30, we'll have more on what we can expect coming up next year along the Beltline. Work isn't completed yet, but just for the season, and I've been able to ditch the umbrella for this hit, so it's already a better morning out here live this morning, ladies.
I was just going to say that. What a promising sight. We've got the Josh Spreiter curse going on. Anytime he reports live, it rains, so things are looking up. All right, Josh Spreiter reporting live for us this morning. Thanks, Josh.
6:07 right now. A Kimberly-Clark lobbyist is being accused of paying Republicans at the state legislature to make sure a massive tax incentive package was actually taken up at the Capitol. Campaign finance reports show that lobbyist for the Texas-based paper company gave Republican lawmakers here more than $4,000 back in August. That includes hundreds of dollars to state senators who initially opposed giving Kimberly-Clark the $100 million in tax incentives. There's now a vote scheduled for that incentive package after the November election. By state law, those donations were legal, but some critics say it was used as a way to make sure that that bill was considered.
A nationwide entrepreneurship organization says Madison is one of the best places in the country to start a business. The Center for American Entrepreneurship named Madison one of its 30 emerging startup hubs in their recent report. They call the city a little giant because of its high level of venture capital investment per capita. Overall, they rank Madison 14th in the world in venture capital deals per capita. That's ranking ahead of cities like New York and Los Angeles. We are 40th overall in venture capital dollars per capita as well. The report credits UW-Madison's presence as one of the reasons why startups are so attracted to the area.
6:08 right now, and since he made his comeback to the Kohl Center ice, Tony Granato has been trying to do something that coaches haven't been able to do for a while for the men's hockey program. Fill the seats, all of them, and get fans excited for the program. We're going to sit down with Coach ahead of the team's regular season opener to hear about his expectations for the upcoming season.
Wait, it is already hockey season?
Right?
Say it ain't so. Could have fooled me too with those warm temperatures and rainy days we've seen all week. Hattie has yet another alert day for us because we could see even more storms before drying out and cooling down. Her full forecast is next on News 3 this morning.
Good morning from the Hattie-O patio. Still pretty wet here on the west side of town. Just some light rain coming down at this hour, but be prepared for some on and off rain through the morning right into the afternoon. Let's step back though and take a look at yesterday's high temperatures. I show this map because it's not every day that you have about a 40-degree temperature spread just across the state. 47 was the high yesterday in Superior. 84 in Milwaukee. Madison managed to make it above the 80-degree point. That's likely going to be the last time this year. Here's a look at the local storm reports. You can't get to 80 in southern Wisconsin in mid-October without having the chance for severe weather. And we did have some hail reports as well as some wind damage reports across parts of southern Wisconsin. Tornado reports, though, issued in Iowa. The National Weather Service is not planning on surveying any of the damage, though, here in southern Wisconsin. Our alert day is still in effect today, not necessarily for severe thunderstorms, but for additional rain. We've added up the rain in inches over the last couple of days, and any additional rain will cause problems with flooding. Area rivers are already above flood stage in many spots, so keep that in mind, that you could see some water ponding on the roads once again. Flood watches are in effect for areas west of Dane County until 1 o'clock this afternoon. And here's a look at those river flood warnings that are in effect. Nearly every county in our viewing area is impacted by at least one river that's at or above flood stage. And again, any additional rain will cause problems today. We'll likely see a narrow band of a half to almost an inch of rain across southern Wisconsin through the day today. Here's a look at the radar map. Show you exactly where the rain is right now. Getting just a little bit of a break here in Madison, although there still are some light raindrops coming down. The rain is pretty widespread in the southwestern corner of the state. At least we're on the warm side of things. Take a look at that band of snow that's impacting the northern plains this morning. There are temperatures in the 30s in that part of the country, with temps only in the upper 60s and low 70s here. So a big temperature contrast in the region. Temps will stay fairly steady today in the 60s to low 70s thanks to a southerly wind. Right now those winds are anywhere from 8 to 15 miles per hour. Future Track shows you how this rain is going to move through the area, and eastward progress is going to be slow today. You can see by 9 o'clock the rain still in and around Dane County, turning a little bit more scattered as we head towards the afternoon. Rain chances really start to diminish after 5 or 6 o'clock today. Temperatures then turn significantly cooler for tomorrow. Here's a look at your extended forecast. We leave summer behind and we go back to fall, maybe even a little bit like winter. We'll talk wind chills tomorrow with strong west-northwesterly winds and highs only in the 40s. At least we string together 3 dry days in a row. Now let's get a look at your First Alert traffic maps this morning. Josh Tim has all the details. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, we're dealing with some wet roads, so give yourself a few minutes extra when you head out the door this morning. So far, though, no major delays showing up on the Beltline yet in either direction. Looking at Dane County, there are a few brake lights showing up on the northbound side of Rona Road approaching the Beltline ramps. That's going to add just a minute or two to your drive. No problems with delays downtown. Volume shouldn't be a factor, at least for another hour or so. And other main routes heading into Madison are moving along at the usual speeds with no crashes or delays. With your First Alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
All right, thank you so much, Josh. Thank you, Hattie. 6:15 your time now. The Wisconsin men's hockey team kicks off its regular season this weekend with a 2-game series against Boston College.
A few years ago, the UW brought on a new head coach who played here before the Olympics and then the NHL. And the hope is new leadership would bring success back to the program. We wanted to know what that success means for head coach Tony Granato. He joins us this morning. Thanks for waking up.
Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah, a little earlier than the game start times. I know you're used to.
A little different than hockey time, but we're okay.
Let's start with this season, Coach, if you don't mind, and just kind of what you're anticipating, the big expectations and the big challenges of this year.
It's exciting for us. We got a big freshman class. We got 9 kids coming in.
Wow.
So a big turnover in our program as far as
which has to be a challenge in some regards, I would imagine.
Yeah, but it's exciting because it's the kids that we've recruited. We've watched in the past couple of years. They're going to bring a ton of energy and life into our program. We were looking for character, gritty kids that brings different kind of energy to our club. And so far, throughout the 6 weeks of practice now, we're really excited at what they're going to bring and looking forward to having our fans to have an opportunity to see them here this weekend against Boston College.
We have, so we're starting the season Friday. I guess, what is the game that everybody's going to want to watch this season? All of them, right?
There you
exactly.
go.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, well, we got some great opponents. We're playing 29 of our 34 teams are ranked teams. So we got a schedule similar to the schedule football team had a couple years ago when they started off with the big win at Lambeau Field against LSU. So this one's a big weekend because it's Boston College. They'll be a top 10 team all year long. They've been a perennial power for college hockey for a long, long time, and they got a bunch of returning players. It's going to be a great challenge for us out of the gate. So then once you get into the Big Ten schedule, we got Notre Dame, we got Michigan, we got Ohio State, we got Penn State, Minnesota. All of those teams are contenders to be in the Final Four, Frozen Four at the end of the year as well. So it'll be a great schedule for our fans. Like I said, we got a bunch of young, energized kids that will compete and play hard, and looking forward to the challenges that are in front of us.
Very cool.
Full disclosure, Coach and I have done a story together before. We talked when he graduated, got his degree. You should go check out the story. It's pretty cool.
It is.
But Coach, I mean, something that you talked to me about even at that time was the fan base and making sure that they were excited too about this team and about this program. Can you kind of talk about maybe where you've gotten and where you hope to go?
Yeah, you know, I think the fans and the support has always been there for our program. We had 41 straight years. We led the college hockey in attendance. That was back to the old Coliseum days, and then we started the Kohl Center. And North Dakota's passed us now. We're number 2. So we've dropped a bit attendance-wise, but there's been, you know, obviously a football program, basketball, volleyball. There's a lot of competition for fans. But I think this year's team is a team that our fans will come back to see. I think, you know, our Kohl Center energy that we have with our student section and with Mike LaCrone and the band and a good product on the ice, and there's still empty seats there, that we can get back to being a team that people love to see and support. And obviously, we'd love to have you out there Friday, Saturday. It's going to be a great start to our season against Boston College.
Very cool. Well, thanks so much for joining us this morning, Coach. We appreciate it.
Of course. 6:18 right now, and there is proof that what the FDA is now calling an epidemic really is a problem here in Dane County. We're talking about vaping and e-cigarettes and the number of teenagers using those products coming up.
And we're keeping an eye on Hurricane Michael as it approaches the Florida Panhandle this morning. You can already see wind and high rains in Panama City. We'll show you those pictures coming up when News 3 This Morning returns.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Hattie McLean. More wet weather in the forecast for today, but then we start to dry out tomorrow. Today is an alert day for southern Wisconsin due to that additional rain across southern Wisconsin. Up to an inch may lead to more flooding concerns, especially for southwestern Wisconsin. They've been hit hardest the last couple of days. Flood bulletins are in effect for the county shaded in green until 1 p.m. this afternoon. Here's a look at the rain, and again, it's mainly west of Madison at this hour, but it's pretty steady and widespread through southwestern Wisconsin. The rain is expected to be light to moderate at times through the day. Temperatures, though, are very mild. We're starting in the 60s again. Janesville is actually still at 72 degrees. Temperatures are not expected to climb much today, though. Pack that rain gear as you head to school or the bus stop this morning. Rain chances are in the forecast all day today with highs near 70 degrees. Have a wonderful day.
All right, thank you so much, Eddie. Get out now. That is the message from Florida's governor overnight as the Panhandle prepares for Hurricane Michael to make landfall later today.
This is a very serious situation down there. It is now a Category 4 storm with maximum sustained winds of 140 miles per hour. That would be the strongest hurricane in recorded history to ever make it to that region. Now, the National Weather Service is warning of life-threatening storm surges up to 13 feet in some areas. 3.7 million people right now are under a hurricane warning. CBS This Morning will have live reports from the Panhandle coming up after 7 o'clock.
There is new research out of UW-Madison this week that shows antibiotics might be dangerous for folks recovering from a heart attack. The study was published in the journal Circulation. UW researchers say antibiotics used on mice eliminated a type of good bacteria in the stomach that can play an important role in recovering from a heart attack. Mice that were given antibiotics recovered slower than mice without.
The Public Health Department for Madison and Dane County is responding to new statistics showing nearly 1 in every 5 Dane County high schoolers say they've recently used e-cigarettes. That's according to the latest youth assessment. And even though traditional cigarette use has dropped substantially in recent years, electronic cigarettes are not subject to as many regulations. They aren't as stringent either. Plus, the popular Juul products are easy to conceal and deliver a high dosage of nicotine to a teen's brain, which can be highly addictive. Earlier this year, a survey of middle and high school principals, social workers, and school nurses across Dane County showed nearly half did not have any education on this topic.
After months of legal hurdles, patients who need a seizure medication containing CBD can finally legally get it here in Wisconsin. We told you about 6-year-old Adeline Hiles last week. She has a rare form of epilepsy, and her parents were running out of options for treatment. Her dad has advocated for the drug Epidiolex. It's a first medication containing CBD to be approved by the FDA, and now the first in Wisconsin as well. The drug is used to treat 2 rare forms of epilepsy. Epidiolex was approved by the FDA in June, but it took almost 3 months for the DEA to make some changes to its classification so the drug could be used. All right, 6:25 your time now. As we expect more rain today, some of our neighbors are still cleaning up from yesterday's storms. We'll show you some of the worst damage coming up.
And there's a Middleton business saying thanks to some of the first responders who kept things safe during last month's active shooter situation. And they're doing it with a donation. We'll have the day's top stories when News 3 This Morning continues.
Farmers are already dealing with thousands of dollars in damage, and there's another round of possible storms and flooding in store for today, too.
After a rain delay, construction work along the Beltline is expected to wrap up soon. I'm Josh Butter live in Monona this morning with more on what you can expect along this stretch here in the future.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to the final half hour of News 3 This Morning. It is 6:29 now on this Wednesday, October 10th. And whether it's the roads, your commute, farmers, their harvest, their damage to their properties, the weather is not what anybody wants to hear right now.
Or if you're just like Josh and Hattie and you're sick of using the umbrella outside. I mean, come on. Hattie is out on her patio, and Hads, you were saying it was just a big puddle out there.
I am. Everything is wet on the patio, but hey, look at this. The umbrella is actually down right now. A little bit of a break. Don't put that umbrella down too far, though, because you'll need it through the morning and right into the afternoon. It is another wet day across southern Wisconsin. Good news, though, after today, things start to dry out. A live look from the WISC-TV sky cam. We have clouds in the area, of course, this morning. Not expecting to be able to see much sunshine through the day today. It's an alert day for southern Wisconsin. Not necessarily for the potential for severe weather, although some of the storms later today could contain gusty winds, but it's mainly for the additional rain. Parts of southwestern Wisconsin have been hit very hard with rain over the last couple of days, and that continues. You can see rain amounts generally a half to almost an inch in some spots, and that's on top of what has already fallen. So rivers are going to continue to rise, and flooding is possible. Here's a look at Doppler track this morning. We've had some rain in Madison, but now the rain is lining up just western edge of Dane County, points back to the Mississippi River Valley. Oh, there's a family of bunnies that's running across the patio right now. They're just as scared as I am to see me. Here's a look at the wider view of the radar map. While we have rain here, it is snow in the northern plains this morning, so at least we're on the warm side of things. Probability of precipitation this morning, very high, near 100%. It does diminish, though, as we go through the day, and after 5 or 6 o'clock, the rain chances come to an end for southern Wisconsin. Now let's take a look at your traffic report. Here across southern Wisconsin, the roads are wet, but no accidents or issues to report right now. If you are traveling into Madison, just a little bit slower on Verona Road northbound as you head towards the Beltline. And that's your first alert traffic.
All right, Hattie, hopefully you and that rabbit family can stay dry this morning. Thanks so much. 6:32 your time now. The National Weather Service doesn't plan to survey any damage in our area after last night's storms, but there's still a fair bit of cleanup for folks down in Iowa County. One family farm in the village of Cobb has thousands of dollars in damage this morning after the storm left behind an inch of water and destroyed their barn. Lloyd Moan has been working on his farm for 47 years. He says that barn's roof collapsed on a $300,000 combine. The National Weather Service says straight-line winds are to blame for that damage.
As we prepare for even more rain chances in the forecast today, emergency management teams in Rock County are watching the Rock River closely. They do expect the river will continue to rise and reach major flood stages within the next few days. The National Weather Service predicts the Rock and Lake Koshkonong will be just inches under what's considered to be significant flooding conditions by the weekend. That's right around 11.5 feet. And then to our north, Columbia County authorities expect the Wisconsin River and the Baraboo River to reach moderate flood levels by the end of the week. They estimate the Wisconsin will surge almost 5 feet by Saturday, nearly reaching its 19-foot major flood threshold. The Baraboo is set to rise 3.5 feet over the next couple days, reaching 19.5 feet total. So it's not the flooding that has road crews pumping the brakes a little bit on the Beltline construction that you're seeing, but the wet weather is delaying work and lane closures that have been scheduled for overnight.
The DOT tells our Josh Sprider that work is expected to wrap up in the coming weeks. That's where we find Josh this morning. He's live along the Beltline with an update. Good morning, Josh.
Good morning. The original plan by the DOT was to be done this coming Friday, but Mother Nature, of course, got in the way of that. Surprise, surprise. The good news, not by much, though. They only need 8 more dry nights to get the job done, and they expect and estimate that they should be able to be done here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We'll show you a closer look at that project right now, which is primarily focused on Fitch Hatchery Road all the way to the interstate. A DOT spokesperson tells me the pavement was in desperate need of repair and replacement due to deterioration congestion over time. Next year, an asphalt overlay will be installed from Fish Hatch Road to the interstate. Crews will also mill and overlay the Beltline from the Seminole Highway to Fish Hatchery. I'm told you can also expect some minor bridge repairs on bridges over Stoughton Road and Todd Drive. Most of that work will also be done at night. Remember, you can always find the latest traffic updates by downloading the First Alert traffic and weather app. And ladies, Hattie is dealing with those bunnies, and Mark and I are dealing with the mosquitoes this morning, and it's mid-October. I tell you what, this has been a wacky year of weather.
Animal attack.
Yeah,
here.
no kidding. My goodness, I thought we were done with those. Don't worry, the frost is coming, according to Hattie's forecast, Josh, so we'll keep an eye on that. Thank you, Josh. Appreciate it. Josh Breiter reporting live from the Beltline.
6:34 your time now. Later today, streets engineers with the city of Madison are looking ahead to a construction project along University Avenue scheduled for 2022. It's one of a number of projects they'll discuss this evening at a campus area committee meeting. Members will also hear from the developers putting up a new parking garage along Linden Drive, close to the natatorium on campus. There will also be updates to the new workout facility that's going up next to the Cole Center, as well as renovations for both Whitty and Celery residence halls. Members of the Vilas Neighborhood Association are also going to update that committee on Monroe Street construction. Work from Leonard Street to Regent Street there is set to go until mid-November. Traffic is still only able to go one direction, toward downtown. There are also plans to revamp Crazy Legs Plaza right across from Camp Randall. The group will get an update on that project and how businesses along there are doing around 5 this evening.
Police in Monona are holding a community meeting later today after a couple of shooting incidents in recent weeks. Officers want to give people a chance to ask questions about those incidents, like the fight near La Follette High School that turned into a shooting, and the teenager you may remember who brought a gun on a Metro bus. Police will also let people living in those neighborhoods around there ask what they can do to help reduce crime. The meeting starts at 6 o'clock tonight at the Monona City Hall conference room. A Middleton-based business is thanking its police department for keeping its workers safe by making sure officers can keep doing their job in the future. Century Insurance will be making a donation to the department's efforts to add a canine to the force. The exact donation amount will be announced later this morning, but it will help cover the cost of training a police dog. Century was one of the many businesses put on lockdown during last month's shooting at WTS Paradigm. If you'd like to donate to Middleton's new canine unit, you can give at Middleton Police Department or at any Monona State Bank location.
So we talked with Officer Stats with the Middleton Police Department this week. It's a costly thing to start a canine program, upwards of $150,000.
Yeah, the training is intense for sure.
Yeah, so what a great way, what a great donation.
Definitely. 5:37 right now, or excuse me, 6:37, and a UW-Madison football player is suing his school for violating his constitutional rights. We'll get you an update on that story in the morning sprint.
And students at one Madison area school now have the money to get new playground equipment that everyone will be able to use regardless of their abilities. The news is back in the morning on News 3 this morning.
Welcome back. 20 to 7 on this Wednesday morning. We always ask you to share your morning with us, and we wanted to share this from Harvey. Just a gorgeous shot at Park Lake, he says. Just beautiful. We need the sunshine this morning, so thank you, Harvey. What does your morning look like? Take a picture, post it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is. Use the hashtag MyNews3Morning. A Madison area school says it'll spend its $1,000 prize on new playground equipment that's accessible to kids with all abilities. Nuestro Mundo will receive that $1,000 from Unity Point Meriter after its Imagine the Amazing contest. A school in Illinois won the $25,000 grand prize. It's also using the money to build a new playground. More than 1.5 million votes were cast for more than 2,600 schools throughout this competition. It's the first time the healthcare provider held the contest. Okay, Leah's saving up for a road trip to De Pere after she promised she would buy the newsroom a Kringle if it won the Wisconsin Manufacturers and Commerce Coolest Thing Made in Wisconsin contest.
I did. I'm a woman of my word. Uncle Mike's Bake Shop is the big winner for its sea salt caramel pecan Kringle. Oh, that just sounds amazing.
Yes, and looks amazing.
Yes, it joins the likes of Oshkosh Defense's Joint Light Tactical Vehicle that won last year and Harley-Davidson's Milwaukee 8 engine that won in 2016. More than 175,000 people voted in this year's contest.
I love that the graphic here says Leah's buying a Kringle, not Kringle won contest. That is excellent. And we did check online. If you don't have time to make the road trip, Leah, they do ship it for a little bit of an extra cost. So, you know.
All right, you know where my next paycheck's going to.
Maybe you can get us all to chip in a little bit for that.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right, 6:42 your time now. It may be hard to believe with some of the scary sky video we got into the newsroom yesterday, but the National Weather Service says there weren't any tornadoes in our area. Hattie is expecting more rain today. Her Alert Day forecast is next.
First, though, it is October 10th. We want to say happy birthday to Larson, Maisie, Jean, Cole, and all of the kiddos out there tuned in 3. Thanks so much for letting us help celebrate here on News 3 this morning.
Maybe enjoy some Kringle for your birthday.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Hattie McLean. Let's start in the tropics this morning, talking about Hurricane Michael. Lots of hurricane warnings and tropical storm watches in effect for the entire Gulf Coast and the western edge of Florida this morning. The hurricane has strengthened rapidly. It strengthened rapidly yesterday. It's now a Category 4 storm. Winds right now are 145 miles an hour, so that's actually a little bit stronger than it was a couple of hours ago. Movement is to the north, again at about 13 miles an hour. So on that track, the hurricane is expected to make landfall this afternoon, probably around 1 o'clock as a Category 4 storm. Winds 145 miles an hour. Gusts up to 175 miles an hour. Now, this storm is going to move pretty rapidly and start to weaken as soon as it moves over land. So by later on tonight into early Thursday morning, it's down to a Category 1 storm, but winds are still gusting to almost 100 miles an hour. The storm then exits back into the Atlantic early Friday morning and continues its track off to the north and east through the day on Friday. It will bring some pretty heavy rain totals to the southeastern part of the country, though. 6 to 8 inches, maybe some isolated amounts up to 10 inches possible along the Gulf Coast. As that storm tracks off to the north and east, we're going to see a pretty wide band of anywhere from 4 to 6 inches of rain. The Carolinas, again, where of course they do not need any rain. They're still dealing with problems from Florence. We have our own rain issues here in southern Wisconsin, though. We're looking at anywhere from a half an inch to almost an inch in some spots. You can see some of those brighter blue shaded colors on the forecast rain totals. For that reason, today is an alert day for southern Wisconsin. We have rapid river rises expected through the day today, creating additional flooding problems across the area. Flood bulletins that are in effect, it's a flood watch for southwestern Wisconsin. This is all areas west of Dane County. It goes until 1 o'clock this afternoon. Pretty widespread rain moving through southwestern Wisconsin this morning. Maybe some pockets of heavier rain just getting ready to move into the area as well. The rain will make slow progress to the east, so you can see the broken line of showers extends all the way back through Illinois this morning. The rain will continue for at least the next couple of hours here in Madison, right through the middle of the day. At least it's not quite as cold, though. There is some snow on the backside of this system. That has prompted winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings. Parts of Nebraska could see 6 inches of snow. That's where temperatures are in the 30s. Take a look at our temps this morning. We have 68 here in Madison, many spots close to that, so a nice mild start to the day. Temperatures are not going to move too much. Highs will be right around 70 today. Scattered showers still possible through the afternoon, but that rain chance really diminishes as we head through the evening. Here's a look at your extended forecast then. Temperatures are going to be significantly cooler tomorrow. It was like summer yesterday with highs in the 80s. Today will be wet, and then tomorrow it's windy and much colder with highs only in the middle 40s. Check out those nighttime lows as well. It looks like an end of the growing season coming up for southern Wisconsin. Check out Chunky in Cuba City. This is probably the best place to be on a day like today. Yep. Just sleeping under a hat or a blanket, whatever you have.
I'm taking my cues from Chunky.
I think it's a great nap day.
All right. Thanks, Addie.
You're welcome.
That is the most excellent picture. The morning sprint's coming up next right here on News 3 this morning. 6:52 time now for the morning sprint. There are flood watches in effect across southern Wisconsin this morning through the afternoon. Hattie has an alert day in effect for more rain in the forecast.
Josh Breiter's reporting on what all this rain means for construction on the Beltline and when it'll clear up. But we start on the UW-Madison campus, where a Badger football player is suing the university for forcing him off the team over sexual assault allegations. Lawyers for Quintez Cephas say the school administration violated his constitutional rights and had external pressures to find him guilty because a prominent donor has close ties to the case. Cephas is asking for a trial by jury. He should be back in court for that sexual assault case tomorrow.
We expect the Badger State ethanol plant in Monroe to be back open this morning after it was closed out of precaution yesterday. That was due to an explosion in one of the corn silos there. 8 people were working in the plant at the time, but no one was hurt. The cause is still under investigation.
Madison police are looking for a man who stabbed someone on State Street last night. It happened around 9:30 at a bus stop right near the State Street Brats restaurant and the Hub apartment complex. A 25-year-old told police someone walked up behind him, asked for money, then stabbed him when he said no. He had to be taken to the hospital, but he is doing okay. Police are still looking for the man who did it this morning.
Police in Monona are holding a community meeting today after some recent shootings in the area. People can come out to ask questions about that fight near La Follette High School that ended with a teen getting shot and another teen firing a gun on a Madison Metro bus. Tonight's meeting starts at 6 o'clock at the Monona City Hall.
It is going to be a wet day today across southern Wisconsin. It's an alert day due to the additional heavy rain that is possible today. Some storms may lead to anywhere from a half to 1 inch of rain across southern Wisconsin. Here's what's happening this morning. Grab that rain gear as you head out the door. We are looking at showers, even some isolated thunderstorms rolling through the area this morning, making slow progress off to the east. So we'll be dealing with this rain for at least a couple of hours this morning. Pretty likely to see a narrow band of heavier rain stretching right through our viewing area. Half to 1 inch is possible. And that's your first alert forecast.
All right, thanks, Hattie. The National Weather Service says straight line winds are to blame for some pretty severe damage down in Iowa County. One family farm has a lot of cleanup this morning after the storm destroyed their barn and the $300,000 combine inside of it. Lloyd Moan has worked on that farm for 47 years. He says it's like losing a friend.
Emergency management teams in Rock County are watching the Rock River today as they expect it to reach major flood stages within the next few days. The National Weather Service predicts the Rock and Lake Koshkonong will be just inches under what's considered to be significant flooding conditions. That's by the weekend. That'll be right around 11.5 feet.
I'm Josh Breiter live along the Beltline in Monona this morning, where construction work is expected to be completed soon, but now without a delay by Mother Nature. That's according to a spokesperson with the DOT who tells me the contractor was pushed back by the rain. I'm told they still need 8 more dry nights to get the job done. Since June, crews have been working over the overnight hours, making pavement repairs in both directions from Fish Hatchery Road all the way to the interstate. The DOT says some of the concrete has deteriorated over time due to use and, of course, our extreme weather conditions in Wisconsin. The DOT expects the maintenance work to be finished in the next 2 to 3 weeks. Contractors will be back again next year, though, with an asphalt overlay. You can always count on the Channel 3000 mobile app for all of your traffic updates.
Thanks, Josh. Florida's governor is warning residents to get out now before conditions get significantly worse this morning as Hurricane Michael makes its way to the coast. The storm is now at a Category 4 hurricane. More than 100,000 people are under mandatory evacuations. Michael should make landfall sometime midday, bringing an 8 to 12-foot storm surge along with it.
President Trump will talk about hurricane response when he meets with the head of FEMA this morning. Meanwhile, he says he's narrowed down a short list of candidates to replace Nikki Haley as ambassador to the United Nations. Among them, his daughter Ivanka, who he says would be an incredible person to replace Haley. Dina Powell, a Goldman Sachs executive who used to advise the president on national security issues, is also a contender.
Candidates in next month's election will have a clearer picture on where they stand with voters after the latest Marquette Law School poll is released. The previous poll showed Democrat Tony Evers leading Governor Walker by 5 points and Senator Tammy Baldwin leading challenger Leah Vukmir by 11 points. The margin of error in that poll was 4 percentage points. We'll have an update this afternoon over on channel3000.com.
As well as an update on Vice President Pence's visit to the state. 6:57 right now. Here's Josh Tim with one more look at traffic. Hey, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. It's picking up on the westbound Beltline. Expect things to slow down between Stoughton Road and West Broadway. It's going to add a few minutes to your usual drive time. Not too bad yet on the inbound side of John Nolan. Just look for brake lights near the Rimrock and Olin Avenue intersections. Other main routes heading into Madison, including the interstate, they're moving along at the usual speeds with nothing to slow you down at this point. With your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thanks, Josh.
And our view this morning, definitely cloudy and quite wet across southern Wisconsin. Here's a look from the Edgewater Sky Cam early this morning. Not a lot of sun in our forecast today. We do have rain moving through southwestern Wisconsin. Again, it will slowly track to the east as a cold front moves through the area. Temps today will top in the low 70s. Pretty much colder though tonight.
All right, thanks, Hattie. CBS This Morning's up next with updates on Hurricane Michael.